Let's absolutely fucking get it. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Vinyl Resting Place podcast. I'm Dapo Agiri. I am joined by Kingsley Jones, one of our VRPs, and we're in a reflective mood today.
We are.
It's a new year, same old me.
Same me.
Same me. Have you got any ins and outs of the new year? We've not done this actually. I haven't seen you since New Year's Eve.
Ins and outs. I don't really do that.
Do you not? Are you resolution man?
I like small progressive change over time. It's very
I agree.
It's a Japanese model actually. I feel
the karaoke model.
No, karaoke.
Sorry.
Like the Toyota model. It's
the Corolla.
It's Kaizen. It's Kaizen.
Kaizen.
And I've been trying to implement that throughout my whole life, but I just ignore all the points where I don't make improvements and go backwards. As possible as well. So very aware of the directions that my life could go in.
What's a small improvement that we're making for the year?
Honestly, nothing. I'm not making any improvements.
You are.
I've just gone completely against what I said.
You are as you should be.
Things just happen to me, you know. I'm just someone walking through this universe, and things just happen to me.
Fair.
I don't really have enough
say
in what I can do. I can try and do something, and it'll just, something will happen. So.
I don't know if I'm inspired or worried.
I'm just letting it. I'm going with the flow.
So fair.
What's yours?
I actually don't have one. As much as I've given you shit, I don't have one. I don't do resolutions. I've been asked ins and outs a lot. I think a lot of my ins are going to be this face podcast management. Trying to monetize it. Want to make some money and not necessarily be a recruiter for the rest of my life. Is the goal, but I think small incremental changes is the way forward. I'm a big fan of the Toyota model actually. Yeah, it is the way forward. We are in 2025, which is fucked. It is insane. We are here. We are happy. We are healthy. But I want to ease us into 2025 with a classic, a favourite from 2024, a bit of Bop or Banger.
Let's do it.
For those of you who don't know what Bop or Banger is, I will give our esteemed guest here a few songs. I've gone for best songs of 2000s. So
wow, okay.
You've got a pretty decent span of songs here. You have to decide whether they are a bop or a banger. Kingsley immediately asked me what if I disagree with both options. I was like, you can also call them shite. So a bop is something that is, for the moment, a great song, maybe gets you dancing. A banger is something that is long lasting. It's a classic. Okay. It's something that will stand the test of time. Let's jump into it. So the first one is, I bet you look good on the dance floor, Arctic Monkeys, bop or banger.
What do you think I'm going to say?
I think you're going to say banger.
It's a banger.
It is a banger. Correct. I agree. A good start to the day.
Very good start.
Poker Face, Lady Gaga, bop or banger. Or shite.
No, I actually really, really like Lady Gaga, and I'd like to see her live one day. But that was like kind of her real breakthrough song, and it's one of those that if it's played now, I'd kind of I wouldn't want to listen to the song all the way through. So I think it's a bop.
I would agree. Yeah. I think it's a bop.
I'd skip that nowadays.
I think I would have skipped it then, to be fair. Yeah. I understand it's fault, but it's never been headphone music for me.
No, never.
Going straight to the start of the 2000s, Bye 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 by NSYNC, bop or banger?
That's a bop for me.
Really?
I couldn't tell you any playlist that could fall into mine nowadays, but that's maybe just a taste thing.
Yeah, but I think the fact that we know it, considering we were only born 3 years before.
Yeah, I mean, there's thousands of tunes that were released before we were born that we love.
We were doing so well.
Disagreement.
Gnarls Barkley with their 2006 hit, Crazy.
Well, 2006 was the best year for music. And this is one of the many reasons why, and this is an absolute banger.
Okay, first, I think it's a banger. The 2006 being the best year of music, I have my thoughts on
one
that.
of many.
One of many. We'll get onto that later, actually, because this is a reflective episode, and I want to run a take past you that James Doe had on one of the previous episodes and see what you think. Umbrella, Rihanna.
I see that in a similar way to Lady Gaga's Poker Face.
Yeah.
It's a bop.
It is a bop. Yeah. I agree.
There are better Rihanna songs.
There are better Rihanna songs. It just is a fact.
Yeah.
Seven Nation Army, The White Stripes.
That's one that's really overplayed, and that's one that's a great song for things like adverts and
it's commercially viable.
Yeah. And I would say there are better songs by White Stripes, but is it a banger? It's a banger, I think.
I think it's a bop.
You think it's a bop?
I think it's a bop. I don't know if it is.
It's not the most complex song.
No, and it's catchy and it works and it fits in those like little spaces. But then like I don't know anybody who's sticking it on the aux, you know.
Yeah. Fair.
Last two. Promiscuous by Nelly Furtado. From your favourite year of music, 2006.
Can you have just a full array of bangers from 2006? You can.
You can, yeah. That's the determining factor.
If that comes on at any party, it's going down well.
Yeah, it is. It feels like it came on New Year's Eve, to be fair. It was the sort of vibe.
Nelly Furtado. I think it might be a banger.
Fair. I would have gone bop, but I respect the banger choice. And then finally, he may be controversial. Is this tune controversial? Gold Digger by Kanye West.
Why is it controversial? I've not heard anything about it. It's a banger. It's an absolute banger.
Yeah, it is. It is a banger. Yeah. It is a banger. There you have it. Bop and banger. Yeah. I feel warm now. I feel good.
Yeah,
I feel good. It's funny you mentioned 2006 being the best year for music ever, because we are doing the best albums of 2024 and following on from our best songs of 2024 episode that came out on New Year's Eve. We had a take from one of our VRPs, which I think is harsh. I think is a bit wild, but I've been in the minority in every time I've had this conversation. So I would bring it up with you because I feel like, I hope we are on the same wavelength. That's a hope more than a certainty. But James said that 2024 is in the bottom 10 years of music from now. From if you took music from 1965 to 2025, it would be one of the worst years for music ever. And I was like, I think we've had some good. I think 2024 was a banging year.
That's brilliant.
I think it was great.
I think time will do 2024 a lot of justice.
I think so too. I think that
it will.
There was my take and my argument was that we had such an array of different sounding music really coming to the fore, and like in modern eras, especially within like pop music, I think that's quite difficult. Like it's often there is a sound which dominates people's like timelines, for want of a better word, or dominates people's space, and you listen to that sound until it dies out, and it's hard for people to sprout up in different areas. Whereas now, I think even when we look at like the albums that we were discussing over the course of our like research for this episode, just so many different avenues that not only we find like personally entertaining and we have an affinity towards, but also like dramatically successful within their own right. And I thought it was a great year. Yeah,
I think you're right there. I think over the last few years we've had maybe songs or albums or artists that have dominated the space on sound waves throughout the world, certainly the Western world. But if 2024 reminds me a lot of times in the 80s where you had a lot of different movements all emerging. You had punk, you had pop classics, you had some of the best dance music that has ever been made.
100%.
You had a great rock scene.
Yeah.
You had a lot of underground scenes emerging as well. Hip hop coming out in the 80s as well. There's a lot of music going on. There's a lot of happening. I don't think there's any necessarily one or two dominant genres at all. But I think as we probably go into, judging by our recommendations, our reviews perhaps of last year, that there's a lot of variety and a lot of very different music, all of which are good.
Yeah, I agree.
It's very harsh.
I think, I agree. I think it was, we've had a lot of comments on socials and direct messages being like, this is completely myopic, blah, 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 blah. And I kind of agree with them. Like, I think it was a small-minded take, but I'm glad that I've got a bit of validation. I would like to hear some of the albums that could have made your top 5 list. Before we jump into the main meat and potatoes of the episode, I just want to know, list through as many of them as you want. We won't go into them too much detail, but just to give people a bit of a flavour as to what you've been listening to this year and why it's been a great year of music in general.
Yeah, 12 months ago, we were sat in here trying to make some sort of prediction as to what would be big tunes and big artists emerging, and a lot of them were completely off.
Nowhere
near.
surprised
by a lot of artists that just came out of nowhere with incredible tunes, incredible albums and pieces of art. But a few that I think have been good that I just missed off my top 5. The re-emergence of the Blossoms with Gary, I think was a really fun album, and I've been off them for a while, but I was a huge fan of the first 2 albums, and I think Gary was a really good, fun album. I think they had a lot of fun making it, and I'm enjoying listening to them again, so I'm very glad about that. New Dad, so an Irish band.
Yeah, this was a nice listen.
They're great.
Yeah, they're
really fun, and there's a lot of music like that at the moment, and things like English Teacher, who also are on there. So they were great. I saw them live. They were fun.
You saw English Teacher live?
Yeah, I saw them. Sorry, not English Teacher. New Dad.
New Dad. Did you?
Great. And just one of many great Irish artists.
Yeah, that was a big takeaway from the songs of the year. That Irish culture is really coming to the fore.
Absolutely.
And I'm sure we'll talk about some of these albums and artists a little bit more. But it is a big renaissance or renaissance even, because I don't even know if there was like a.
The Pogues and
true. That's true.
Bono.
Yeah.
U2.
Yeah.
Westlife, if you want to include them.
Oh yeah, I mean the boy band era, Westlife. And what was the other one? With
Boyzone.
Boyzone. Well done. Good poll.
Yeah. So a few other notable mentions. Nia Archives, as someone I mentioned last year. Saw her live. Really good album. No, Glasgow. Yeah. Laura Marling album at the end of the year.
Yeah, really nice.
Really, really nice album, and she was completely sold out actually across Hackney for like 5-6 dates. Which was,
really?
Yeah, I couldn't get a ticket, and they were so expensive as well. Ezra Collective, we saw them live.
Yes, we did. I did. I saw them I've seen them far too many times. I saw them at We Out Here.
Okay, yeah.
But then I also saw them at where did they last do their show? Hammersmith Apollo.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I saw them at Wembley.
Wembley? You went to the...
last minute ticket, and it was
unreal.
So much fun.
Oh, I bet. They do put on a cracking show. I'm surprised that they weren't maybe a bit higher in your list, potentially cracking the top 5.
There's so many that could have been, and another one which just missed off in 6th is Billie Eilish and Hit Me Hard and
I was hoping that you would put that in your top 5.
It would have been, but I mean, they've got so many.
Yeah, but like it is. I think it's her best album. We did a best albums of the year so far episode with Hannah, and it was in my top 5 then. And I really, really love it. It just didn't. as the year progressed, there were other albums that just like pushed it out, and I was hoping to give it a mention because I do think it's one of those sneaky. Obviously, it's not that sneaky because it's Billie Eilish, but it kind of came and went. But actually, just one of the really quality pieces of music made this year. But
absolutely,
close. 6 is I think so valid.
Yeah.
A lovely array of genres and artists there. A few that didn't make my list. I've been having like a back and forth with this guy on TikTok because we were talking about 21 Savage's American Dream, and initially he was just like, 21 Savage is shite, blah 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 blah. And I was like, right, let's be a bit more expansive in our conversation here. And I think it is the like most musical 21 Savage has ever been, and like as a R&B fan, like the introduction of that side into his rap, I think was a really like pleasant change. I was very welcome to it, and I think even that the album literally came out January 2024, so it still stuck with me through the whole year, and that's a really good sign.
Yeah, it is.
I think Salute's True Magic is stupid good. Like it's like Salute's probably had one of the strongest years of like a DJ. It's definitely in the UK for me. Like I saw him twice. I saw him at Lost Village back to back with Jotty, and I saw him at Warehouse Project. And two of the best sets that I've seen this year. I think True Magic is it's a dance concept album where it's all like almost like Speed Racer vibes all the way through, and like the speed garagey sound is very, very, very current and popular right now. And yeah, I've been listening to him for years and years and years, since Colorblind when we were at school. So it's nice as a personal thing to see that come to the fore, and he kind of get all the flowers he deserves. I think Rhapsody's Please Don't Cry is another album that I kind of had on my list at the halfway point, that it's probably grown in my passion for it. We saw her at Jazz Cafe Festival, and like I was stood at the back of this tent waiting for Hannah to go and get some food, and I was there dancing just to myself and like just spitting the bars. And this woman was like, "Just really enjoying you enjoying yourself," and I was like, that's so lovely, but I'm actually not enjoying myself as much as I would be if I was in the tent actually like seeing the stage. But I think that's oh yeah, I do entirely. She's had a few stinkers where at We Out Here we had to sit through Andre 3000's flute set because she was going to get food, and we were there, we were like, we can't leave because they won't find us, they won't know where we are. So we just sat. It was awful. And then the last one that I wanted to just give a little shout out to is Blood Diamond by Unknown T. For a lot of the similar reasons to 21 Savage. It was something unexpected from him in terms of like the depth of the musicality to it. Speaking of depth of musicality and rap, this actually definitely needs to be mentioned. I think if I had more time to sit with the album, I probably would have had it in my top 5, but I haven't like appreciated it as much. Doechie's Alligator Bites Never Heal. Oh yeah, you've put that on your list before. Yeah, your pre-list. That was really good. You took it out. I took it out because eventually I would say this is my sick. This is my version of Hit Me Hard and Soft, where I just, what do I listen to on a more regular basis? I've got 6-7 amazing albums here that I love. What are the ones that I'm listening to the most? What are the ones that I'm gonna be playing on a regular basis going forward? But I think as well we're caught up in the Doechii moment as well. Like it is the birth of a star, right? Like she's become a entity that is transcended just like the rap space, just the American scene, just the music space. Like she's becoming a bit of a cultural icon, and that is amazing. And that's more power to the like quality of this album. But it just misses out for me. Out for me. Let's get into the top 5. I'm liking this. I'm very excited. Obviously we know each other's list, a little peek behind the curtain. This is probably going to be a friendlier Vinyl Resting Place episode than, because I like a lot of the albums that you put on your list. There's one that we're going to have some chats about. Okay. But Like, I mean, there's a couple of albums there on your list that were on my long list.
Okay.
So, without further ado, why don't you give me your 5? We'll go 5, 5, 4, 4, etc., etc.
My album that's beaten Billie Eilish was Magdalena Bay and Imaginal Disc. When that came out in summer, I missed it, but then I refound it.
Yeah.
I found it for the first time, I should say, in autumn, and at that time there was a lot of music out at that point, and that just added to it, and it was a completely different sound. It felt like kind of like outer space kind of music, very, you know, I think Cocktail Twins kind of vibe, almost very 80s, like soft, but also like sounds I haven't really heard for a while, so really unique. And that became more played than Billie Eilish throughout the second half of the year for me. So, and that's saying something as well.
Yeah, it is.
But yeah, that's my number 5.
I think it's a really good choice, and I've seen a lot of people actually have it in their top albums of the year, and it's something that I was aware of over the course of the year, but never really gave a deep dive into. And I completely understand how it can be something that you just listen to and repeat. And what you said about it being like, unlike anything you've ever heard before.
Otherworldly.
Yeah, it is nuts. I think what is the tune that really sticks out to me? Tunnel Vision.
Yeah.
Like Tunnel Vision in itself is 2 songs that are in their own right quality, and for whatever reason they merge. So, and they're different genres entirely within the same piece of music. And I like how experimental they've been, and even though it's not necessarily something that I was immediately drawn to, like as a body of work, and the more I do this silly little podcast, the more I have an appreciation for the construction of an album and like making it as something that is going to be appreciated as a whole body. Yeah. And it's a fucking journey, isn't it? It's such a testing listen.
Yeah,
it's so good.
I find it so good. Killing Time is probably my favourite tune, or Death and Romance. But yeah, I absolutely agree with you. You go on a journey. I feel like it's, as I said, otherworldly. Yeah. You don't hear many sounds like that out there at the moment.
No, not at all. Not at all. Great choice.
I will be listening to that throughout this year without a doubt.
Great choice. I like it. My number 5 is from an artist who I am like banging down the door for. I think he is the best R&B artist in the world right now.
Wow, that's a huge claim.
The reason this is number 5 is because I don't think this is his best album. He's released an album 2023, Treasure in the Hills. Electric Dusk.
Yeah.
And then he followed it up with the 5th best album of 2024, Mutt. And that artist is Leon Thomas. Like he is so smooth with it.
So smooth
with it. Just super talented. Like he did a like a live session for Complexed or Dazed, one of those companies. And it was just him playing electric guitar, doing a little bit more of a stripped back version of that. And I was like,
I bet it's so relaxing.
It's so good. And I think it's sometimes it's hard with R&B, especially when you make that sort of like late night drive R&B, and you've got that little bit of bravado. Like you lose some of the musicality in it, and I think like I am a big like Brent Faiyaz fan. I like that sort of music really appeals to me, but I also appreciate and will always stand for people who I think are incredible musicians on top of that. And Leon Thomas is that. Like he is super talented. His lyricism and like the actual songs that he writes them all himself, or has a hand in writing all of his songs. Like it's just elite. He conveys a message. He conveys a vibe. Like Mutt is a great song. Vibes Don't Lie is a great song. There's like the Lucid Dreams of Masego is an amazing song, and I just think the guy's had one of the best runs. Like he wrote and like, co-produced Snooze on SZA's album.
Where's he from?
He's American. Yeah. He actually, this is my favourite bit of like R&B trivia. He was on the Nickelodeon show Victorious.
Wow.
So he is like he's a child star, but he's been bubbling away as a songwriter, as a ghostwriter, as a producer, and has sort of got himself in the industry, decided he wants to release his own stuff, and his first 2 albums have been complete smashes. So like, love him. Can't wait for more. And until he slips up, I want you to challenge me with a better R&B artist, because right now the body of work is crazy. That's where I sit with it.
Huge.
Number 4.
Number 4. I love Clyro. The previous album I absolutely loved as well, and then I had no idea this music was coming out this year, and when it dropped, it was such a nice gift because she's so good. She's like super soft singer. She's good for every vibe. House party, you know, that kind of dinner vibe,
going on a walk,
chill, yeah,
mate.
I don't think I've ever felt more relaxed listening to Clyro.
Yeah, such a good.
And this year, last year I should say, 2024, Charm came out, and man, it's such a good album.
It is a beautiful album.
I cannot stop listening to it. There are no skips.
No, I agree.
The whole thing fits perfectly together. There's nothing out there. It's a good album when it all just flows together.
You almost don't realise when it's going from one song to the other. Like you're just in it for the duration of time.
So I love "Sexy to Someone" especially.
Great song. Great song.
I think Juna as well.
Juna is a classic.
Really good. So 2 of my probably favourites on that album. But then the whole thing is just so good. I can't really pick apart the album, as I say. So.
I think as well, I was having this conversation with a guest recently, and we were kind of advocating for like music that sits into the background, like being a good thing. Like you can have something that is really, really high quality and it not be this big dramatic piece of music, and like especially where I think like the almost like classic jazz stylings that come through in this album, and like in that soft like airy vocals, you know, it kind of she reminds me of I don't know if you've ever listened to Lao Fei.
I was following her for a long time before she made it big.
And it's like Lao Fei if you take out the sort of maybe musical theatre rest, like really drawn out, just somebody who is technically very, very good at creating music, knows exactly what they want to make, makes it, and doesn't try and do too much with it. But then it I think where Clyro has hit the maybe super mainstream is that like with it being so stripped back and almost like lo-fi, it's really accessible, so everybody likes it, everybody can listen to it, nobody has a bad word to say about it.
I can't imagine anyone wouldn't like it. Why wouldn't you like it?
And this comes back to the point where something that is easy listening, like this, it could easily be quote unquote like lift music, right? Is super good. Great pick. When you put it in your long list, I was like, how the fuck did I not think of this? I love this album. I love this album.
And it's one of those things like, you know, we can all have our favourites of the year, but if you think of something that can be taken beyond 2024 and can be listened to, you know, in 10 years time, that can easily do that. It can slot into any, as I say, situation. It doesn't necessarily have to be a good live music or music to see at a festival or music to have on all the time, but it's a really lovely album. That's why it's number 4.
Perfect, love that. My number 4 is actually still in the US, moving over to the hip-hop side. As I was doing my long list, I was like, wow, there is a lot of hip-hop here. And
there is.
And I was like, I thought I'd really like expanded and become this eclectic and a diverse lover of music, and actually I'm just a massive hip hop fan. But one thing I love within the hip hop space, one thing that I think is coming to the fore more, not just in the US and UK hip hop as well, is using a wider and like more musical array of samples, and like actually taking songs that are perfectly listenable by themselves, and enhancing them with a 16 over it, and sometimes letting the backing track and the melody speak for itself. And Corday has done that perfectly in the Crossroads. I've been a big Cordae fan. I had him as one of my next up US rappers in, I think, midway through last year. I made that choice, so I was kind of in there. But then I think it's a bit of a cop out because he was already like.
I mean, with the kind of people he has on.
Do you know what I mean?
Featuring.
Yeah.
You got Lil Wayne, you got Kanye West.
Yeah.
You got,
Joey Badass, Anderson
.Paak, Ty Dolla $ign.
Yeah, it is.
Almost every song is just full of this.
And it's like your favorite rapper's favorite rapper. Do you know what I mean? Like, he has got the cosign seal of approval. He is that guy. I think 210s
is my favorite.
It's a banger, and that was one of the singles of the album. And when he dropped it, didn't realize it was going to be on the album. I think that is the best I've ever heard Anderson .Paak rap.
Wow,
that is the best. That is because. I think Anderson .Paak is cold, don't get me wrong, and I've been a huge fan for a long time. I've never heard him go so crazy on a song like that. I think Nothing's Promised is a beautiful song and a really good example of the like letting the hook and the song do its talking. Like, it doesn't have to always be rap. And I think like Cordae is probably our age, if not like a little bit younger. And I think he makes really, really mature hip hop. And I think there's
like old school hip hop.
100%. And I think there's a space for that, especially in this world of like trap and drill, where you kind of the art of lyricism and song making is not diminished. It's not to say it in a negative way. Like, they're carving their own space and making their own sound, but like, the artistry isn't always as heightened or elevated in those sort of genres of music. So it's nice to see somebody who is from that newer generation doing the damn thing. Yeah, 100%. We're getting into.
Great choice.
Thank you, mate.
Thanks for introducing it to me.
Oh no, I'm gonna give a shout out to the very first VRP, Harry Toye, because he was like, if you don't talk about this album at some point on the podcast, I'm gonna be fuming. And I was like, I've listened to it, and I was like, he was like, yeah, but don't you think it's insane? Gave it another listen. I was like, what am I doing? It was a beautiful album. Top three.
Now, is this where you're going to disagree with me?
No.
Okay. Well, no. What? Or the other two? Yeah. All right. Well, number 3. This could have been number 1 in another year.
Do you know what? Such a valid point. Such a good shout.
I mean, I don't know. They're still underground.
Yeah,
they're still very much contained. With I think a few people in East London, they are talking about Dalston in their songs.
Yeah, and I know you love it.
Yeah, we do, because we're literally in Dalston right now. Yeah, and we're with the Dalston, I think, band of 2024, Confidence Man and 3 AM, La La La.
What a fucking album!
It came out. I mean, I saw the end of their set in Glastonbury from the back, and it just looked wild.
So I've seen them live before this album came out. Right, I saw them at Forwards Festival summer 2023, and it was purely by chance. I was well on my way, and we were like, we just want to boogie, and it was one of the best sets I saw all summer. Me and my mate Em were bouncing along, we're having the best time, and then this album comes out, and I was like, oh, this is great. And it was at Sophie's birthday where you were like, have you listened to it?
Oh, right.
And I was like, I saw they had new music out, it's saved, but I've only heard the singles. You like listen to the full album,
yeah, and
you put it on as the background of the party, and I was like, Is this what we're doing, Confidence Man?
Yeah.
If they play Glastonbury again, they might be a non-negotiable for me, because that's just good fun, guaranteed.
Yeah, it's true. And the live performances are also fun. Their set is incredible.
The visuals, they've got outfits. It all. Yeah, they know exactly what they're doing.
It's weird. It's weird music.
Yeah,
they're weird people.
Yeah,
they're brother and sister.
Are they actually?
Apparently.
Oh shit.
And they're Australians in London. I mean,
shock.
Yeah,
like everybody on Hinge.
And I mean, Breakbeat is fun. Sicko, I think, is so fun. Janet is also a funny song.
I'm a Real Move touch man.
Yeah, they're great.
Real Move. Oh, with Sweetie Irie. Thank you, Sweetie Irie.
Oh yeah,
so sick. Sick.
Yeah, it's good for gym music. That's how my flatmate is loving it now. He's in the gym every day playing it on repeat. It's one of those things, first or second listen, if it's all new to you, it is weird and you might be like, what is going on?
Yeah.
But the more you play it, the more you get into it. and especially if you kind of catch any of the content they produce online, it's just it only adds to it. And they're a great artist. I'm so looking forward to how they progress, and I'm so annoyed that they're still quite small. I think
it's only a matter of time.
Yeah.
Also, I feel like there is a big resurgence in the intersection of like pop and dance music, right? And that is within certain underground like circles, but then what is being cultivated there is a very like robust and long lasting fandom. Yeah. So even if it's not necessarily like you guys, but then that makes money. Yeah. And I think that's what they deserve. I don't think they're necessarily looking for like super critical acclaim or to be the biggest artist in the world. Yeah, but like they want to make people for the people who get it, and the people who get it want to hear their music, and that will sustain their careers. And I think this album is like a launch pad for them to really get that like cult following and do what they, because sometimes when you do get to a more mass crowd, you can't make an album like this. It gets diluted.
It's true.
I've got a lot of I love this album. I think it's sick. It was a great choice. It was in my long list as well. Good. It was in my long list as well. Great
Very glad.
Told you it was going to be a friendlier episode. Like it's a great year for music.
It is so much. And then my number three.
My number three is again probably my like smallest act. Like this is very.
I was surprised when I saw this.
Had you heard it before?
I had not heard it before, and then I listened to it and I love it. So there are very similar bands out there. They're all like post-punky. You have these who are
Honeyglaze with Real Deal. So I found this. I honestly can't remember or couldn't tell you where I found this band. They're a British three-piece, and this is their second album, I believe. And like you say, it's a bit post-punky. There's airs of indie. There's airs of like lighter kind of soul in there as well, and it's a really like beautiful and kind of heartbreaking description of heartbreak. Like it's describing the monotony and the like loneliness of getting over someone and going back to someone. And I think the thing
very real. The lyrics are very, as if you're talking to someone
100%
on the street,
exactly. And that's the thing that drew me into it, is like it's relatable. And I know everybody says that it's relatable, but it's like you can really imagine yourself doing this. Like if anybody's experienced a breakup, like there's one of the songs, and I can't remember which one, but the first lyrics is I've sit here folding the halves in the sheet into halves and then the halves into quarters. I spend my whole life sorting, but nothing's ever sorted. And I was like, fuck.
So poetic.
Like I'm right there with you, and I feel it. And I put it in my I made it one of my albums of the week at some point in time. And I think the way I described it at the time was it gives you space to grieve the loss of a relationship. Like musically, there are a lot of really soft and sort of enveloping and inviting songs, and then within the same album there's that cathartic rage and release where it's like Don't is by far my favorite song on that album, and that is like a very quite a heavy post-punk song. It's not me whatsoever. Like it's not something that I would put on. But
Dawn's a great tune. Ghost as well.
Ghost is amazing. I like Cold Caller. I think that's a really beautiful song. And I just think sometimes, and this is a testament to kind of what we were saying about the year of music as a whole. Sometimes you just get bands or artists who just get it right. They just nail it. And I think I have not enough superlatives to say about this album. I think it was really, I hope that they get as much credit for it as possible, because I think they've made something that is a little bit like timeless. Like it's something that I think I can see myself resonating with for a very long time, because there is so much relatable and descriptive, poetic lyricism alongside really high quality musicality. It's something that I put down in my notes when I first listened to it. The drums
The drums. So tight.
Mate, so crisp, and it's all and they allow, and maybe because they're a 3-piece, they allow each individual to have their moment, and there are points in time where I'm not even listening to the lyrics.
It feels like more than a 3, right?
Yeah, it's crazy. I'm glad you liked it. Yeah, I'm glad you liked it. Yeah. I knew as I put it down, I was this is a bit of Kingo.
Yeah.
Right. Which one do you think I'm going to disagree with? Your 1 or 2?
Yeah. You don't deserve to disagree with either.
I don't deserve. No. It's crazy.
The fact you even think either of these two are disagreeable in any way, and I don't know what it is that they'll come out with that might,
what bollocks they're going to string.
Well, yeah. Go on. How could this not be mentioned? Number 2, Charli XCX Brat. Is it that?
It is this. This is where I want to know, and I agree. First of all, how could it not be mentioned? Because it as an album, as a project, as a movement, it took over our year. We know it was Brat Summer. It took over our year.
Yeah.
So it had to be mentioned.
It went worldwide.
Is this the second best album made this year?
In my opinion, yes.
Kingsley.
I think it is.
Musically,
absolutely. Lyrically, absolutely.
What?
Yeah.
It's your East London talking.
It's so good.
It is not.
It's so good, and there's a reason why it went massive. A lot of it was very good marketing,
and amazing marketing,
very good marketing,
and good songs. Don't get me wrong.
Great songs. I think it's a completely new life that Charli XCX has now, because before that, she had some good music.
Yeah,
I saw her live before Brat.
Same.
And it was all right.
Yeah,
like I enjoyed a few of the tunes.
I know what you mean.
But now she's a completely different artist now. She's gone to a new level.
Yeah, she's hit a new stratosphere.
We have now presidential candidates last year quoting her.
Yeah.
That's crazy how big she
is. Isn't Brat I don't know if it's Collins or Oxford. One of the dictionaries has Brat as their word.
The Oxford probably. Yeah.
I get everything you're saying, and over the course of this year, I've really banged the drum against this, and it seems like I hate the album or I think it's shit, and that is not the case. I really struggle with the music. Okay, here's how to loop it all back full circle. I think it's a bop of an album, not a banger, and everybody's telling me it's a banger, and I'm not hearing it, and I feel like I'm outside the club looking in, and no one's letting me in. I can't understand why I can't get in, and it just doesn't do it for me.
I think it takes us back to early 2000 pop music. I'm getting a lot of Kylie and that kind of vibe out of it, but then I'm also getting a lot of very completely new modern thing where it is the lyrics themselves are relatable.
Yeah,
they kind of connect with people who are of a certain age. I would say it's a young album. I can't say it's something that is for everybody, but a lot of people can relate to the vibe that it brings out. They're funny. They're funny.
And then it's unapologetic, and it's who we are on a night out. I get that, and I think it's nice to be able to have conversations about club culture and the realities of it, and it not be either damning it or taking itself too seriously, being okay, this is who I am, this is what my friends group is like, this is what our nights out are like. We are funny, we are messy, we are silly, we do all these things, and don't get me wrong, when she plays at Glastonbury, will I go? Yes. Will I have a great time? Yes. Does that make it the second best album of the year? No. Is my stance on it. But I do understand. And let me make this very clear so people don't shout at me. Totally understand everything you're saying. And it's just a personal preference thing. And I think this is officially the end of me pushing against Brat.
If Brat didn't reach the heights that it did, and they had the album had a few thousand listens, you'd be the biggest advocate for Brat right now.
I don't know if that's true,
You're against the mainstream take and the fact that even normal people
You're a
are
dickhead.
now really enjoying that music. So.
I think if this album had a few thousand plays, let's say even it had like 100k plays or hundreds of k plays, I don't think I would even speak about it, because it like, I don't think it's bad. I also don't think it's that great. So like it would have passed me by. Do you know what I would speak about? I speak about Guess, because I think Guess is a banger, and then I'm chilling. They're all right. They're all right.
Every single one is good.
They're fine.
Talk is one of my favourites of the year. Club Classics is excellent. Sympathy is a Knife wasn't my best. Well, it wasn't my favourite initially, but now I really love it. I might say something stupid. It's probably my least favourite, but it's still a great song. Ron Dutch.
Ron Dutch is a decent song, okay. And I don't mind.
I don't need to speak about it either.
You don't, yeah, because everybody agrees with you anyway.
Yeah.
So I'm just making conversation. Do you know what I mean?
All right, let's move on. Your number two.
My number two is something again that stuck with me from the start. Technically a mixtape, but this was my favourite album of the year halfway through the year. And it just missed out on my number one spot, but it is Might Delete Later by J. Cole. I've spoken till the cows gone home about how I think this might be some of his best rapping performances ever. Like, I think we've got to a stage where J. Cole knows he might be the greatest on planet Earth right now when it comes to hip hop. Like, he knows his level and he's got the bars, and there's songs like Pie, songs like Trey the Truth and Ibiza, like he's just making fun of us, like he's just showing off. I think in a similar way, but in a totally different way, I love the marketing of it, like in and around with the big three beef and how he just dropped this with no promo, nothing, and we always forget that he dropped this album and it had one of the coldest diss tracks of that whole period of time with 7 Minute Drill. And everybody forget, everyone's like talking about, oh, Meet the Grahams, this, blah, 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 like that, blah, blah, blah. All great. But 7 Minute Drill was J. Cole for absolutely no reason obliterated Kendrick Lamar. And like, that's a big thing for me to say. I love Kendrick. I just think J. Cole he had a crazy single run from 2022 to 2023, and then he's followed it up with a stellar mixtape or album, whatever you call it, and then he dropped the Port Antonio track on YouTube, and he's just taking the piss. Like he is at the top of his game, and I've got no bad things to say about this album.
Another album with a lot of really good features as well.
Yeah. I mean, Central C, Ari Lennox, Cameron coming back, Absol. Like, it's a really, really good project. And I think it's I like tight, no fat, nothing wasted. There's no fillers. Like, I wouldn't skip any songs on it. I think they all show off different parts. Like, I had Stealth Mode as one of my like honorable mentions for best songs of 2024. I think it easily could have been Trey the Truth and Ibiza, easily could have been Pricey, easily could have been Fever. Like, there's a lot to say about the album. It's really well made, and J. Cole is that guy, and please don't ever forget it. Like, he is that guy. But he was pipped to number one.
For you.
For me. I like your number one album, but I have some gripes. So I'm going to let you give your spiel, give your talk, and then we'll discuss what is, in the eyes of Kingsley Jones, the best album released in 2024.
People are saying that rock and roll is dead.
Might be dead.
But it never goes away, in the words of Alex Turner. And it definitely fought through the sludge to come number one for me, and that's Romance by Fontaines DC. I've seen them a few times now, and it's a very different album to the previous one, Skinty Fear. But they've produced and released so many albums now, and they're only now, I think, are reaching a point where they're at their peak. And Romance is a beautiful album. It's poetically incredible. I think it's fun. It produces a lot of different sounds. A lot more. There's a lot more to it than previous albums. A lot of people have been turned off them this year because they've maybe turned away from their roots. They've gone a bit weird. They're dressed in a funky way. But their live performances have sold out, and they're the hottest ticket in town. They're local to here. They live nearby. Yeah, Finsbury Park is this year.
Oh, Finsbury Park is this year.
July.
Oh, is that the one that they've got Kneecap supporting them?
I think they do. Yeah. I'm going to that.
So, are you?
Yeah. It's I've had it booked for a while.
You fucking snake.
And I'm one of their biggest fans now. They're my favourite band. Easily, there's not a lot of great classic kind of indie rock out there, and this is, I think, one of few. But they really do it, and I think their live music, what they bring to a stage is fantastic. I was about 5 people in at Glastonbury, as close as I could get. I literally queued up for a long time to get there.
Make sacrifices for experiences.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it was absolutely incredible. So, a few of the tunes. My favourite one is Bug. That was mentioned on the previous episode.
Yeah. 4th best song for Charles.
I really like Death Kink.
I think Death Kink is a great
hard
song.
It goes hard.
It goes off, man.
Yeah.
It goes off. I love it as a choice. My only gripe is the fact that I've started this podcast, and not only is the best song of the year that we've chosen Starburster, the best album we've chosen is Romance, and I thought we were really expansive in our music taste, but maybe it's just a testament to how good the fucking album is.
I hope so. Yeah.
I think as well the piece you mentioned about how they've deviated from their old music, and they've maybe cultivated this new sound, and I think it is there's something I wrote recently where like being you is enough. Being you can make you a star. Make your music, and the rest will like fall into place. And I think that really, really rings true with this album and the rise in prominence that they've had. Where people are expecting things from you from previous things that you've made before, but you have a vision. You have a sound that you want to cultivate, and you've done it, and it's so varied. Like they've taken notes of punk, they've taken notes of rock and roll, indie, alternative, hip hop, pop. There's so much in there. It could have easily been a flop, right? It could have very easily not have resonated with people the way that it has. But this album, if there's anybody who's making music and who is unsure about whether their sound is worth it or right, like, this is why you do it, because there is every chance that the thing that you make and the thing that you poured all this time and effort and passion into suddenly changes how people view you as a musician, view you as an artist, view you as a band. Like it's something that I'm so glad I got into, because I want to go to a Fontaines DC show. Yeah, like I just do. Like it's gonna be, it would be fucking sick.
Favorite as well. I mean, some people don't like that one, but that is one of the best feel good songs that's been like released over the last few years. It's such a nice tune. It's so lovely. Like it's kind of a sunset song. It's kind of an end of a film.
Yes,
song, like a
credits rolling. And
I think it's for it to fall last as well. It's just perfect. Yeah, perfectly composition.
It's well structured. I think the point of music, the point of an album is to make you feel something, and throughout the whole of Romance, you're constantly being pushed to like have an emotional connection to the album. I think it's a great choice. I think it would have been in my long list. It would have been what didn't make my top 5, but I completely understand why it's the best. And I think there will be a lot of people who agree with you to say that it's one of the best albums, if not the best album of the year. Finally. So I mentioned this artist in our best songs of 2024, similarly to Fontaines DC. And it's funny that we were talking about kind of emotion and how music makes you feel. My favourite album of this year is Daughter by LP Giobbi. I found this album in summer, and it's kind of a two-piece thing for me. Bar this being such a like insane listen, like as a piece of music, it's dramatic, it's technical, it's feel good, it is emotive. I also have like a lot of personal draw to it. So we stumbled upon LP Giobbi at Lost Village, and like that was one of the sets of the summer for me. Like, I went to 6-day festivals, 2 camping festivals, saw gigs galore. I would say LP Giobbi was one of the best artists I saw all year, like hands down. And I think the thing for me is I'm in my raver era, so like being able to have that experience with my boys, and that was our holiday. Like that is a core memory that is embedded in not just my life, in their lives, and we can go to that and share that. But then when we were there, I had no idea who she was. Like I had absolutely no. We were just like, LP Giobbi, let's get it. And she was playing. It was sick. It was like the perfect summer settings, perfect summer vibes, and a real like highlight of my summer. So that was already elevating the sound in my mind. And then she dropped the album, and I was like, what the fuck is this? And I think the element of like emotion for me, this is an album that makes me feel better. It's an album that I consistently listen to top to bottom. I think it flows into each other really nicely. I think it has really beautiful interludes, and the message about like her relationship with her parents, the message about like she said in interviews, it's an ode to the strong women in her life, and like that really shines through for me. And I think in times where I've probably had like lower moments, I've been able to find a lot of like solace in this album, and I think it encapsulates what Vinyl Resting Place is for me. It is an album that it kind of bookends a point in time. It will be the soundtrack to my summer of 2024, but then it is also something that I will listen to for the rest of my life. Like it is something that I hold a massive place in my heart for. So I encourage everybody to go listen to it, because I do think, bias aside, it is a stunning album. But I don't think, as I was going through my list, I could have picked anything else, because like it means something to me, and like that's special, right?
Exactly.
And I've said to, if she plays at Glastonbury this year, I will go by myself. I will go by myself, because I know it's a party. And I said there's a what tune is it? Love Come Through. I said all I want to do is be boogieing with my best mates in the sunshine to Love Comes Through. Like that is my happy place. That's something that will be a special moment. And what better reason to pick an album? You know?
Absolutely. It's a fun album.
What are your thoughts?
Yeah,
I've never heard it before I
I've never heard it before. I'm not the biggest dance music fan, but not necessarily. It's not like I don't like it. But then I listened to it, and I just enjoyed it. It was fun. I could have it on kind of all the time in the background. It's one of those for me.
It's a good universal album.
It's not one where I'm going to sit down and really like pay attention to all the lyrics or try and find too much meaning out of it. But I think it's a good tune. They're good tunes. They're songs that I'd love to listen to more. Alabama Shakes, also fan of.
Until There's Nothing Out Left.
And Portugal the Man as well. And that's pretty good for who she is, where she is right now. It's a really good, tells you the direction she's going, and to have those artists on there.
And I think the nice thing for me is, like, I, as a fan of like dance music in general, like, we were talking about it, me and Charles were talking about it, like, sometimes you especially with this sort of like euphoric dance music that she makes, like I liken it to maybe like a bonobo or for example,